I have really strong values around fairness and treating people equally. And so I think having access to beautiful places, making them available to other people is important to me, and making sure that we are protecting the spaces for generations to come. Have you been watching the Tour de France?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you're missing out. On a mattress that fits exactly in the back. My name is Orla Bannan. I'm the Policy Manager for State Policy and Engagement for the Healthy Rivers Program at Western Resource Advocates. I'm based in Boulder, Colorado. I've been with Western Resource Advocates since 2017. I primarily focus on Colorado state policy. I do a lot of work on river protection and water conservation and how Colorado is protecting its water resources within the state. As part of that work, I work on Colorado River issues, and I also work with a lot of appointed boards in Colorado and help them be more conservation oriented. I've always enjoyed being in the natural environment. As a child, I spent a lot of time hiking with my dad in the mountains, very small mountains, I might add. We called it mountain climbing, but really it was hiking. And I feel like I've always enjoyed being out in nature, and particularly being next to bodies of water. So I like to enjoy the outdoors. I do a lot of triathlon, so there's a lot of swim, biking, and running involved. I also ski and snowboard in the winter, and I like to backcountry ski in Colorado. That's a very special experience, getting you out in the wilderness, checking out the water supply when it's frozen. I just like to be outside too, so any kind of hiking or visiting natural places is always appealing to me. Sorry, I got distracted by the fish. I'm like, why are you coming in so close? What else do I do? There are other things that I do that I don't do like I used to do a lot of rock climbing. I don't do that anymore, really. It's a hard sport to keep up with. I've tried ice climbing, I don't recommend it. Not my sport. I think there's a lot of places that are special to me. When I was younger, I would often hike up on the hill behind the house where I lived and go past a creek and through these farm fields and get up on a ridge. And when I was a young child, I lived in Ireland. And so up on the top of the ridge, there was this old Norman keep, which is dated from like 900 AD. And so I would always hike up there when I wanted to get away from my family or just have a reset or be in nature. There's a lot of places in Colorado that are special to me. My husband proposed to me when we were rock climbing in Boulder, up on Flagstaff Mountain. So that's a special place. And then I always have a special place in my heart for Rocky Mountain National Park. Winter and summer, it's a wonderful place to be. I ended up in the environmental world more as an evolution of my work. I'm a lawyer by training. I started working at a law firm. I've always been attracted to doing more meaningful work that has an impact. Early in my career, I was interested in human rights work and protecting people and the way that they are treated in the world. And then as I moved through my career, I focused more on the natural landscape through real estate practice, and then I worked for Vail Resort Ski Company as one of the internal lawyers there, which exposed me to working with water and also working with the natural landscapes and wild places that the Forest Service manages and where people like to recreate. And then for me, I really wanted to have more of an impact. I really enjoyed working at Vail Resorts, and it's a great company. And I also felt like I could have more of an impact if I moved into an organization where I was much more focused just on the advocacy piece. And I felt like I could be really effective in making an impact on helping protect special places, finding good solutions to keep water in rivers, finding ways to work with people to find win-win solutions, and move the needle on things that are important to me, and address impacts of climate change, which we're seeing the horrific impacts of all the time. And I think it's very connected. The work on rivers is very connected also to our work on lands and our work on clean energy, and they all work together to help us live in a world that we want to continue to see exist. Some of the first issues I became aware of was through my legal practice and thinking about how you comply with regulations and requirements to protect natural areas. So if you are working in if you're doing construction or anything, like how are you protecting the resources around you, including trees and streams from runoff and impacts. And so really I came at it, I guess, from that sort of regulatory background, but thinking about, what do we need to be doing and what's the right thing to do and how do we do the least disturbance possible. So I think those are all important experiences for me in protecting the environment. I think, when you're thinking about the natural places where people recreate, you don't want to see those polluted or impacted by roads and runoff or fuel or other things that humans bring, because then the recreation starts destroying the place. So I think that's where it started for me, is like thinking about what's needed to minimize the impact of what you might be doing as a human in that space. Yeah, so my family is Irish. I happen to be born in the United States of America because my parents were visiting for a year. But I grew up until the age of 12 in Ireland, near Dublin, and then in a town in the southwest called Killarney that's actually a pretty beautiful place. Lots of mountains, the tallest mountain in Ireland, which is only 3,000 feet, so not that tall. But a lot of lakes, a lot more water. They have less water quantity issues in Ireland than we do in Colorado and in the Intermountain West. And then when I was 12, my parents told me that we were moving to Australia for a year. So that turned out to be a lot longer than a year. And we packed up, we moved to Sydney, Australia, which was very different, but also amazing. Much more time at the ocean, newfound appreciation for warm weather, which I did not enjoy in Ireland, and also a much more water scarce environment. So things in Australia, especially in the Sydney area, can be very hot and dry. Water supply is an issue. There's a river in Australia, the Murray-Darling, that has similar issues to the Colorado River. It's a pretty stressed and very important river. And then I lived in Australia for a long time. Finished high school, went to university, got my law degree, started work. And then I moved to the United States, in theory also for a year or two, but that was 20 years ago. Well, when I decided that I would like to work in the environmental space and felt like I could use my skills as a lawyer to have an impact, I talked to a lot of people at different organizations and got an understanding of how the different organizations operate. And for me, Western Resource Advocates was a great fit because of the way they approach the work. So it's collaborative, it's looking for win-win solutions, it's working with people to find the best solution for everyone, and also trying to get things done quickly and effectively. So that was an approach that appealed to me. Even though I'm a lawyer, I find litigation to be slow and tedious, and I don't always like the outcomes, and I feel like they're very binary. So I think when people are at the table crafting their own solutions, you can get to better results. And so I felt like I had a lot to offer in that space, and that I had good relationships that I could build on, and good way to work with people and learn what they needed and try to solve the problems in a way that would be an effective solution. So that really appealed to me at working for WRA. And then I also really loved everyone I met. So one of the things I love most about working at WRA is the people that I get to work with. And I think the people are truly inspiring, and they're very passionate about what they do. And they do really good work, and they take it very seriously, but they don't take themselves seriously. And so I've enjoyed working here a lot. I keep doing this work because I think it's one of the most important things we could be doing right now. Sometimes it can be frustrating and difficult, and I also feel like we're having an impact. So I think if you look at the changes we've been able to implement over time and the solutions we've been able to adopt, I think that we have had a positive impact as an organization across multiple areas. And so I think that that's what keeps me coming back, and I enjoy what I do, and I like to be able to make a difference. Once again, the people I work with are a source of inspiration and hope for me, but I also think that there are a lot of people working in the water community in the Intermountain West who have different interests, but are all concerned about managing the resource sustainably, being responsible, finding good solutions, grappling with some really difficult issues. And even though we don't always agree, I think people generally are coming together and genuinely want to solve problems. So I think that gives me hope that even though discourse can be very polarized and things can be difficult, there are still spaces in the world where people can come together and look for good solutions.